Donald Trump is calling for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg to resign in response to comments Justice Ginsburg made about the GOP presumptive presidential nominee. According to CNN, Justice Ginsburg called Trump a, quote, faker, unquote, this following a New York Times interview in which she derided a Trump presidency. Joining us with more analysis is Wall Street Journal Law Bureau Chief Ashby Jones. Ashby, thanks so much for being with us.
You bet.
So, of course, the Trump campaign responded with this tweet. It was pretty pointed, calling for her resignation. Let's back up. Federal judges, we know, are explicitly asked not to make public political statements. What are the rules regarding Supreme Court justices in this regard?
It's really interesting. There is like a canon of ethics that is actually in the law that governs almost all of the federal judges that are out there, and there are a lot of them, but it does not explicitly apply to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is really sort of an unregulated body of judges. So the justices can really do kind of whatever they want with some limits, but they just have a lot more leeway to do and say things.
Right. So is there any precedent for this? Have there been Supreme Court justices in the past who've become political?
Not so much in modern recent history. There are few episodes, nothing like what's going on here with Justice Ginsburg, but apparently during the Bush-Gore election, former Justice Sandra Day O'Connor made a comment that was sort of overheard that when it looked like Gore was going to win, she said, "Oh no, this is terrible." Something like that was sort of overheard. Justice Alito, Samuel Alito, a Bush appointee a few years ago, was sort of got into this back and forth with President Obama, actually during the State of the Union address about the Citizens United opinion, and there was a little bit of a back and forth actually during the address, but nothing that's been this sort of extended.
Did Justice Scalia also come under a bit of fire for going on a hunting trip with Vice President Cheney?
That's a good point. He did. He went on a hunting trip with Vice President Cheney, and then refused to recuse himself from some decisions that came up involving the vice president.
So yeah. Curiosity, going back, I mean, we're talking about modern history, but if you go back to the earliest days of the Supreme Court, they were political in those days, were they not?
They were more political.
They were more
political. And this sort of notion that the justices should sort of refrain from commenting on the politics of the day is really more of a contemporary notion,
right,
I think.
Right.
At least going back a century or so, when I say contemporary.
But it is a value that a lot of people seem to hold dear, and she has come under fire from many quarters, not just the Trump campaign. Other people have criticized Justice Ginsburg for this as well.
No, that's right. And it's very unusual in these types of situations, which are highly partisan and highly political, to hear a justice criticized from the camp that really supports her, the liberals.
Right.
And a lot of liberal commentators, even some senators, some people on Capitol Hill have criticized her for this.
Right. And we know she was appointed by former President Bill Clinton. What sort of political ramifications could her comments have?
It's a really good question. This is sort of unprecedented, so we don't exactly know. In terms of getting her off the bench, I don't think that's going to happen. They would have to impeach her, which typically would involve like a crime. She hasn't done anything criminal,
right,
as far as we know, certainly. So that's probably not on the table. So in terms of political blowback, pressure, more tweets, more pressure, possibly pressure from inside the court to really clamp down on this.
Right.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
And Justice Ginsburg has become more outspoken in recent years, hasn't she?
She has. It's been really interesting. It's sort of corresponded with a bit of a rise in celebrity stature for her. She's become sort of a darling of sort of a certain part of people who follow the law, who are on the left. She's got this sort of nickname as Notorious RBG, and she's been kind of a champion or a hero to the left. And as that's happened, she's sort of become more and more outspoken. Now, whether the two have anything to do with each other, I don't know.
Right.
She's also getting older. At this point, nobody really knows what's going on.
Kind of wait and see. Could this have any implications for the potential nomination of Merrick Garland?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that is a separate issue. It stands alone. I mean, you kind of cut either way, say, look where the liberal appointees have gone. I mean,
right,
we don't want something repeated with a Garland. At the same time, Garland has a reputation for being it would be very, very surprising if he behaved in a like manner to this. So
absolutely.
I think it's sort of an apples and oranges comparison.
All right, Ashby Jones, thank you so much.
You bet.